Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Together for LA webinar series hosted by the Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation, LAEDC. We welcome you to this morning's webinar, where we will be covering 5 ways to repurpose your content for social media with a special presenter. I am Angela Amirkanyan, Program Manager and today's webinar coordinator. LAEDC is a 501c3 nonprofit public benefit organization whose mission is to harness the power of private sector in collaboration with LA County to guide economic development and create more widely shared prosperity. Today's event is brought to you by one of LAEDC's programs, which is called Together for LA. Together for LA is a strategic partnership to strengthen and support women and diverse-owned small businesses in LA County as they strive to recover and reopen from the economic crisis that was wrought by the COVID-19 pandemic. No-cost technical assistance and connections to small business resources are made available through a generous grant that we received, sponsored by Wells Fargo. The Together for LA partners, since this is a collaborative, are the organizations that are on your screen, including the LA Chamber, LISC LA, the Dr. Lucy Jones Center, as well as the City and County of Los Angeles. Please visit our website after this webinar, laedc.org/coronavirus. We have an amazing business resources hub. So this website is updated on a daily basis with new resources as we learn about them, new grants and loans as they become available, accelerator programs, and so on. And what's so great about this website is that we actually have a filter system where you can narrow down the resources that you're looking for based on your industry, based on your business type, if you're a micro enterprise, small business, nonprofit, or the type of resource that you're looking for example, financial opportunities. So feel free to visit this website. Once again, it's laedc.org/coronavirus for business resources, as well as the recording of today's webinar will be posted shortly after today. You can also access recordings of our past webinars if you happen to miss any or would like to go back and revisit. I would also like to let you know that LAEDC has technical assistance services available to small businesses at no cost. We offer confidential and complimentary consulting to businesses of all sizes and of all industries. We have an incredible multilingual business team that is available to assist you based on your needs, and a very personal consultation to determine where your areas of needs are. And some of the resources that we typically advise in are any workforce related issues or needs, permitting, which can be expedited or assisted with, site selection, access to capital, like I mentioned, grant and loan opportunities, cost containment strategies, and so on. Here is an overview of the type of resources and the connections that we can make for you. For example, if you're interested in permit assistance, financing, energy efficiencies, the following listed organizations or other service providers on the chart are people that we have connections with and can make a quick connection with you to further help you with your needs. Moving on to the reason why we've gathered this morning, today's presentation is on 5 ways to repurpose your content for social media. Our presenter and guest this morning is Jessica Joy Reveles, and she is the CEO of J Squared Communications. And we thank you, Jessica, for joining us this morning to do the presentation. I do want to mention that if anyone has any questions throughout the webinar, please use the Q&A function on Zoom to submit your questions, and we will address them towards the end of the presentation. And Jessica, if you are ready, I will turn it over to you for the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Angela. I'm so pleased and honored to be here and to be your presenter for today. Next slide. So these are some of the brands that I've worked with. My company is J Squared Communications, and we are a full service digital marketing and communications agency we work and support with and support women, LGBTQ, and BIPOC owned businesses. And we do that through content marketing, specifically social, email, blog, web, and SEO. Next slide. These are our specialty areas, and then I'll be going into our presentation now. So how do you reach your audience? We're going to go over 5 ways to repurpose your content, but what I want to do is preface that with how you actually reach your audience and how many touch points it takes to do so. So according to HubSpot, which is a major marketing industry publication, it takes approximately 8 touch points using different messaging across different multiple marketing channels to obtain a qualified lead, and more to convert that lead. Now, a conversion can be not just a sale, but it could be someone submitting their email to you, doing a video download, reading an ebook, or other clicks and things on your website. Those are all conversions. Of course, we ultimately want that sales conversion. And that typically takes between 8 to 14 touch points with the client before, or the prospect, before they become a lead, a viable lead. Especially in the early stages of the customer journey, people are gathering information and building awareness of your products and services, and they're researching on other sites and other platforms to look at all the different options that they have. There's so many options for them to purchase products and services now. So you can increase and vary your touch points using the following marketing channels. So social media is a channel, advertising is a channel, email marketing is a channel, texting is a channel, influencer marketing is a channel, and PR is a channel. And there are more, but these are some of the top channels that you can use. And under each channel, there's different platforms. So for social media, there's Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, and so on. And then we have, with the other platforms, you can do advertising through things like Facebook and Instagram, Google Ads, Yelp. Through email marketing, you can create informational newsletters and nurture your audience over drip campaigns. And those can be done through Constant Contact, MailChimp, Drip, Active Campaign. Those are a number of the most popular email platforms. And then your text campaigns can be promotional and also create nurture sequences, just like your emails. Your influencer campaigns can consist of Instagram takeovers, contests, giveaways, and other partnerships. And your public relations can be digital publications, radio, podcasts, TV, PSAs, and print, of course. Next slide. So why content marketing? Content marketing consists of anything where you're creating something. So you're creating written content or video content or images. So written content can be social media and blogs and web content, video content, and then images. If you are maybe a photographer, for example, you're creating content marketing through the images that you make. So one of the major reasons to use content marketing is that your audience is already online. So content marketing channels are a great way to reach them where they are. And according to Pew Research Center, which is Center for Statistical Data on a number of issues, 81% of US adults go online daily, from once a day to almost constantly. So the majority of the US population is online. And worldwide, Statista, another statistical data collection agency, says the global digital population is just over 4 billion, which includes 3.7 billion mobile internet users. And there are just over 3 billion social media users. So social media is a really hot place to be online to reach your target audience. Next slide. Here's what the data tells us. According to Content Marketing Institute, 91% of B2B marketers, so business to business marketers, use content marketing to reach their customers. And 86% of B2C marketers, business to consumer marketers, believe that content marketing is a key strategy. And that was as of 2018. That number has increased since then. And we typically get the data 1 to 2 years beyond that year. So CMI, Content Marketing Institute, says that content is one of the most effective ways to promote a business. Almost half of all marketers plan to use content to reach their audience. So again, that's social media, email marketing, blogs, web content, video, and imagery. Next slide. So here's a pie chart of how many organizations have content marketing strategies in place. So before you actually do your social media posts or create a video or make other content, you want to have a strategy in place. What's important is having that direction to be able to understand what platforms you're going to use, how you will use them, how you will measure success or how you will measure failure, and to have that strategy in place. So if you are working with someone in the marketing field, like myself, for example, you would want to ask that person for a strategy before diving into your actual content making process. So here's the percentage of people that do have a strategy and it's documented. That's 37%. Yes, people that businesses that have a strategy, but it's not documented is 38%. 19% don't have a strategy, but plan to have one in the next year. And 6% don't have a strategy, but plan to have one in 12 months. So you can see the vast majority do have a content marketing strategy in place, or they have plans to create one within the next year. Next slide. So what the data tells us, continued, is that 72% of marketers say that content marketing increases engagement. Now, engagement is very important. Engagement is clicks, likes, shares, comments. Anyone that's interacting with your content is engaging with you. So it's really important, even if you have, let's say, a follower count that's very high, which is considered a vanity metric, followers. It's good to have followers, but you could have, if you have 1,000 really engaged followers or 2,000 very engaged followers versus 10 or 50,000 or 100,000 that aren't so engaged, but you have the follower numbers, it's better to err on the side of the audience that is engaged, even if it's a smaller audience. So there's such a thing called micro influencers and nano influencers. And those are small influencers that have between 500 to 10,000 followers, but they're extremely active and engaged, and they really listen and are loyal and follow what that influencer says. So even if you don't have a high follower count, as long as you have the engagement and that's high, then you really have a loyal audience that will follow you and do the things that you ask them to do. So Twitter alone shows an incredible ROI for their platform. 66% of people found a new business on Twitter, according to Twitter. 69% of people bought something because of a tweet, and 94% plan to make a purchase from a business they follow. And this goes not just for Twitter, but for other platforms like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, for example, which is a more of an emerging platform that's starting to do more advertising. Clubhouse as well. So if consumers plan to make a purchase based on the businesses they follow, you definitely want to engage with your audience and try to increase both the follower count and the engagement, but most importantly, the engagement. Next slide. So let's talk about SEO and content marketing. So you have to keep in mind that SEO, which is search engine optimization, affects where your content appears and whether people will see it and click through to your site. So SEO is the practice of implementing keywords related to your industry, your product and service into your website, your blogs, your social media, for example. So it's worth it to optimize your content for SEO because 95% of people only look at the first page of search results, according to Brafton Digital Marketing Agency. Now, that first page is very critically important because you have some ads which take up maybe half of the space, And then the other half of the space is our organic searches that come up on their own through the keywords that you implement into your website and into your blogs, for example. So it's really important to optimize for SEO. And that's something that, that I can advise more on and support with SEO services and information. So I have a whole presentation on SEO, and I actually am going to be providing an ebook on blogging and SEO as a free gift to everyone on this webinar. At the same time, the best content marketers focus more on engagement and conversions than website traffic. So again, the numbers, the followers, the website traffic is important, but the engagement is more important. So you still need the traffic so that people will see your content, but it needs to be optimized so that people engage with your content. Next slide. So first you want to start with a marketing calendar. And this is going to begin our 5-step process to create and repurpose content for social media. So the most successful businesses implement a detailed content marketing calendar as part of their content marketing strategy. This allows you to schedule timely and appropriate events and milestones for promotion across the web, across your social media, and across your advertising platforms. So for example, our team uses a content marketing calendar, which I'll show you in just a moment. And it includes activities like blog posts and emails, social media, and national, international holidays, as well as social media holidays and any advertising that you're doing. So you'll need to equip your team with the appropriate assets like images, videos, and copy to make the publishing easier, but it all stems from the marketing calendar, which helps direct the strategy. So the marketing calendar is great because it keeps you organized. It helps you develop your brand's voice. It saves you and your team precious time and stress, ensures your post consistency, and encourages team collaboration. So there are really all pros in terms of using a marketing calendar as part of your marketing strategy. That's step 1. Next slide. This is an example of a marketing calendar that our team uses. For example, you can see that it's color-coded based on blogs, Pinterest, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook Live, holidays, email newsletters, and e-blasts. So you can see the kind of golden color are the different social media holidays. We have this calendar set up with over 500 social media holidays, and that's a lot. You don't have to, you wouldn't necessarily post on all of those days. You really only want to post to the ones that are relevant for your industry and for your product or service. But this gives you an idea of what you can draw from. And the reason why we have so many holidays on here for social media is because we have different types of clients, right? So we serve and support women, LGBTQ, and BIPOC owned organizations, but they come from all different industries. So we have to know for the food industry, what are social media holidays that are relevant? For transportation, what social media holidays are relevant, etc. Next slide. So how often do you actually post based on this calendar? There's an enormous amount of content being published daily, so there's a lot of competition out there, but you want to create value-added, meaningful content that's relevant to your audience, that they can take away and get something out of without necessarily it being a promotion. So we recommend that small to medium-sized businesses like yours post 1 to 4 times a week. And larger companies, of course, have the capacity to post daily or more, multiple times a day. But at least if you can post between 1 to 4 times a week, on average 3 times a week is a good rule of thumb. Another good rule to follow, there's 2 different rules for content posting that we use. One is the 80-20 rule, which says that 80% of your content should be meaningful, relevant, value-added content. So things like articles, quotes, tips, and tricks, things like that are related to your product or service or industry overall. And then 20% is promotional. That's the 80-20 rule. There's also a 60-30-10 rule. So the 60-30-10 rule says that 60% of your content is value-added, meaningful content. 30% is external content. So those would be articles and other things that come from reputable sources related to your industry. So industry publications, things like Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, for example, for small businesses, and 10% being promotional. So those are the two rules to follow. And then again, 1 to 4 times posting weekly or 3 times on average is really what we do as a minimum at our organization for our clients. But most of our clients were posting at least 5 times a week. Next slide. So now we're going to go into the rest of the steps where we're repurposing content. So the first thing you're going to do is choose a topic and then pick 5. So how do you create and repurpose this content? First, you'll select any topic related to your business and then pick 5 subtopics directly related to the main topic. So if your topic is social media marketing, if you're a marketing agency, for example, like us, then your 5 subtopics might be marketing on TikTok, marketing on Instagram, marketing on Facebook, etc. Then you're going to make a list of 10 relevant keywords. Now, there are 2 types of keywords. One is called the short tail keyword, and the other is the long tail keyword. The short tail keyword is typically one word. So for example, if you're in, I've worked for hair companies and beauty in the past. And so if you're a hair company, the word hair or even blow dryer, for example, would be an example of a short tail keyword. Those are now, those are the broad search volume. So very broad volume where you're going to cast a wide net to capture as many eyeballs as possible. But it's a low purchase intent because people that are searching for these major keywords, these broad keywords, are not necessarily looking to purchase right away. They're just doing some basic research. Then you have the long tail keywords, which are very important because those are low search volume, high purchase intent. So they're not searched as widely as the short tail keywords, but the purchase intent is very high because when people are searching things like wet flat iron for wet hair, or summer beach waves, or let's think of another one, shampoo for curly hair. That's a long tail keyword as well. They're pretty much ready to make a purchase. They just are looking for the right vendor, and they need to find the right place to make their purchase. So it's important to incorporate both short and long tail keywords within your content. So here you'll make a list of 10 relevant keywords, short and long tail. Then you'll write 3 paragraphs on each of the 5 subtopics. And keep in mind, these can be really short, 2 to 4 sentences per paragraph. And then give each section a subheading. So you'll write a short intro, 2 to 3 sentences, a short outro, 1 to 3 sentences, and a call to action, also known as a CTA. This is going to create a blog post. And you'll add a headline, no more than 6 to 13 words or 65 characters. And then you want to keep your post between 500 to 650 keywords, 500 to 650 words or more. The longer, the better. So at minimum, the 500 to 600 words is a good rule of thumb to get started. But the longer you can create, the longer you can go in your blog post and more in depth, the better, because Google favors long form content. So they will reward you with better positioning in search if you have a long blog post, something like 900 to 1200 words, or even 1500 words and above, which would be hero content is what that's called. So just again, to run over this really quickly, you're going to select your topic, pick 5 subtopics, make your list of 10 relevant keywords, write 3 paragraphs per subtopic, 2 to 4 sentences each, and then a short intro, 2 to 3 sentences, a short outro or conclusion, 1 to 2 sentences, a call to action to follow that, and you have your blog post. Next slide. So how long is a blogger's typical blog post? This shows you over time from 2014 to later on in 2017 about how many words the blog posts were on average. So again, typically between 500 to 1,000 words was the most popular. And now more and more Google again is favoring long form content. So I would take it, beyond 1,000 if possible. 1,500 is a great length for a good long piece, and then you can vary it up with short pieces in between. Next slide. So now we're going to create the second step, which is your lead magnet. Lead magnet is a freebie that you create that you're going to give away for free as a way to capture emails or phone numbers or both. So it all starts with your blog post that you just created. Now that you have one, you'll also have your freebie or your lead magnet, which will allow you to collect emails and grow your email list. Now, your email list is critically important because that's something that you own. That's owned media is what that's called. And the reason why it's important is because, as you have probably experienced, or someone who's experienced this, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, all of them have different algorithms that change on a daily basis. And over time, they change more dramatically. And so as they change, you might one day wake up to find, I'm missing 1,000 followers because the algorithm changed and kicked them off your platform. So it's really important to not rely just solely on social media for your content marketing and and reaching your audience. You really want to have their information, like their emails and phone numbers, which is the most valuable thing that you can have. So if you haven't grown your email list, now is the time to do that. So you'll take your headline from your blog post and each subheading and create a checklist from the subheadings from the 5 different subtopics. You'll grab a snippet of the copy, which is the verbiage from each of those sections of your blog, and summarize each subheading. Include some design elements, save it as a PDF, and you have a checklist as your lead magnet. That's one of the easiest lead magnets to create, is a checklist. And you can go on and create more than 5 items, but this will just give you a good start. Next slide. So now we're going to move into email marketing. From your checklist, you can easily create an email newsletter or an e-blast. So what you'll do is create a branded email template using your preferred marketing email marketing provider, and then you'll select 2 to 3 checklist items and shape them into sections or paragraphs within your template. You'll link your anchor text within each section to your blog post. Now, what that means is, let's say you have a complete sentence and you've got a keyword in that sentence. That keyword is going to be what's called your anchor text. It's going to anchor the hyperlink that takes people to the blog post. So now you're using your email marketing to promote your blog post to get them to your website. And when they go to your website, you'll have a pop-up that will capture their emails and you'll give them your lead magnet. So you see how these 3 elements are all working together. Next slide. Now we're going to move into social media. So refer back to your blog post. You'll pull 2 excerpts from each of the 5 sections. This creates 10 social media posts. Can you believe that? And those can be spread out over 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how often you post. So even if you posted every day, that's 2 weeks of content that you have just from pulling from those 5 subsections. You could also pull quotes from your blog post and create a quote template in Canva or Photoshop and design a graphic according to your branding, and that makes for another social media post. Next slide. Now we want to move into advertising. So you'll go to your social media posts and draw from the best 2 to 3 posts. So pick 2 to 3 of your top posts and do some copy editing to create an ad. And the ad could be very short. It could be 1 sentence. It could be long, like 4 paragraphs. You've probably seen different types of ads, short and long. You'll add a call to action, which is telling the reader what to do, or the customer what to do, either buy now, learn more, click here. and then it's ready to program into Facebook and Instagram Ad Manager. Next slide. So we've gone through all 5 steps of repurposing your content for social media, and I'm so proud of you. You did it. It's not that hard. It's really quite as simple as creating the hero piece of content, which is the blog post, and then pulling from that blog post and creating new content or repurposing that content for use on different platforms. So I hope you found that repurposing content is fun and easy when you know the right tips, tricks, and techniques. And you can also create things like videos, images, ebooks, podcasts, and courses. So there are more than 5 ways to repurpose your content. You can really extend that, and the sky's the limit. Next slide. I want to thank you so much for your time and participation today. I'm looking forward to getting your questions answered and extending myself as a resource. Next slide. This is my contact information and our company's contact information. And with that, we are complete and ready for questions.
Thank you so much, Jessica. That was absolutely excellent. As you can see, Jessica is truly an expert on this topic matter when it comes to social media and marketing. So we really appreciate your time and for sharing your expertise with the small businesses that have joined us this morning. And feel free to get in contact with Jessica to learn more. And speaking of social media, she also has a wonderful social media account where she shares wonderful posts on behalf of the company, as well as further tips and tricks for small businesses to use and implement. And it's nice to see how easy and simple these tips are that you've shared with us today, and how important it is, especially as we move into this digital world post-pandemic. So for those that missed any of the information presented, please be assured that the recording of today's webinar will be posted on our website for you to go back to and view again as needed. So next we will move into some questions and answers. A couple questions have come in, but if you still have questions as we wrap the presentation, please send them our way. I do want to also mention that someone from LA EDC's Together for LA and Technical Assistance team will directly be in contact with you after this webinar to further check in and see if we can provide any further no-cost technical assistance for you. Complimentary and confidential consulting is available at no charge with the generous sponsorship of Wells Fargo. So someone will be in contact with you after to further assess your needs. All right, let's see if any questions have come in.
Thank you, Angela.
Right.
I do want to make one comment before we go dive into the questions. I have 2 free gifts that I'm going to gift any audience members that are here live, and maybe we can make these available to you through LAEDC for those that request it after the replay. So one is going to be, I'll provide an ebook on blogging and SEO that I've created. And the second one is a website audit valued at $300. And what that does is it assesses the health of your website across listings, reviews, social media, website speed and performance, and SEO. So it's very, very valuable. It's very comprehensive, and I would love to offer that. So I will provide instructions to Angela on how to make that available for the audience members.
Thank you so much, Jessica. That's very generous of you. And I will definitely be in touch with everyone after the webinar as well to share those great resources and gifts that Jessica has given us. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
So we have a question that has come in. We did address this one, but just to reiterate, Jessica, are there any recommendations for posting every day versus just a few times a week? What is best?
Absolutely. So 3 times a week, I would say, is really your minimum. And you can use things like Hootsuite or Buffer or Later, Constant Contact to create posts in advance that will post automatically so that you're not manually doing it on your own on a day-to-day basis. But my rule of thumb for small businesses is 3 posts a week. It keeps you active. It keeps your audience engaged. And as far as posting more than that, A lot of times it's helpful to have a social media marketing intern or manager to help you create additional posts at least 5 days a week. They don't have to be Monday through Friday. They can be on weekends, depending again on your audience and your industry and when they're online. So if it's like a retail or a restaurant, for example, the weekends might be more popular times to post. So you could post things like specials and promotions, and then of course, value added content like we mentioned earlier. So
Mhm.
there's not one that's better than the other. More is more on social media. So the more you can do, the better. But 3 to 5 posts a week are great. Anything beyond that is superstar.
Thank you. And I actually have a question myself, Jessica. So what would you recommend is the best type of content to share? I know that photos typically get more impressions and engagement versus an article or a piece of news that you were featured in. What would you recommend that small businesses focus on posting? What is it? Food photos? Is it photos of their team? Is it a testimonial from a client? What's the top, I guess, type of social content that gets most engagement?
That's a great question, Angela. So all of those are great things to post about: testimonials, quotes, articles, photos, team member spotlights. But video is the number one highest engaged type of post that you can create. So if you're not on YouTube, if you're not on TikTok, if you're not on Instagram stories, you need to get on there as soon as possible, because video is what is converting the fastest. It's what people really pay attention to and crave.
Thank you. That's so insightful. I'll definitely keep that in mind as I'm posting on LAADC's social media channels as well. We have another question that has come in. What is the best strategy to sell on Facebook for someone who is not familiar with the platform and doesn't want to spend lots of time there? Is it even possible? I'm very intimidated with Facebook, but want to use it, as I've heard you can sell well on Facebook.
Yeah, there's 2 different ways you can sell on Facebook. One is through Facebook and Instagram ads, which they've made it fairly easier to create those ads than it was in the past. So it's really, when you go onto Facebook into the ads area, it's just on the drop-down menu in the top right. You can create an ad by following the prompts. So it's very simple. Of course, it's best to be guided by someone who knows ads, but more than you, that knows it inside and out, and can walk you through it or do it them on their own on your behalf. So the ads are great, and they're just essentially, it's just following the prompts, and then you just track the data by going into the ad center, the ads manager, or business manager as well. And you can look at things like the cost per click. You can look on how many clicks, where those clicks are coming from geographically. Are they male or female? What type of devices are they coming from? And you can create audiences that are specific to your target demographic. Another way to sell on Facebook is through the marketplace. And that's by posting your products and services. More products is really what the marketplace is for, on the marketplace, so that you can sell more locally.
Thank you, Jessica. All right, it seems like those are all the questions that we've received. If anyone has any further questions that come up after the presentation, once again, we will be in contact with you directly for any further needs that you may have. With that said, I do want to bring up our website one more time. It's laedc.org/coronavirus. Once again, the website, the webinar recording will be posted on our website afterwards, but there's some additional sections of the website that I'd like to bring your attention to, one of which is the Contact Us button. So if you visit our website and would like to request an assessment, even though someone from the team will be in contact with you directly, there is a Contact Us button, which will lead you to our intake form, where we will be asking you a few questions about your business, so we can receive some further information about your needs and where we can assist you, as well as where your business is located. So go ahead and do that after the presentation as well. Also on the website, you will find a calendar of our upcoming October webinar series. We have 2 incredible webinars that have been planned for you and coming up. The first one is on October 19th. It is the week of the Great Southern California Shakeout. As we know, a disaster preparedness month is approaching for small businesses. So we have one focused on a small business guide to surviving the next big one, whether it's an earthquake, a disaster, a pandemic like we've experienced. That is on October 19th. And we have quite the guest speaker on that one. She is Dr. Lucy Jones, seismologist, formerly with the City of Los Angeles, as well as the founder of the Dr. Lucy Jones Center for Science and Society. So don't miss that one. She's absolutely an expert on disaster preparedness. The next one upcoming is October 26th from 11 a.m. to 12 o'clock. And this one is in collaboration with the City of Los Angeles. So there are 2 programs that are coming up for small businesses and specifically restaurants under their new Comeback Checks program. So there are 2 grants that we will be talking about, as well as the eligibility and how to apply. And the guest speaker during that presentation is General Manager of the City of LA's Economic and Workforce Development Department, Carolyn Hall. So please visit the website and register for those. Our webinar series is complimentary and we present twice each month. So keep an eye out for the schedule as that's announced. And that is the end of our presentation. Once again, thank you, Jessica, for joining us this morning and for the excellent content and tips that you've shared with us. Thank you to everyone that joined us this morning. Please visit our website and contact us for any further needs or questions that you may have. And we are together for LA. Thank you so much.